We're at Dante's View today, just beyond the moment of sunrise, and we're going to head for Mount Perry. So we're going to take the trail from Dante's View to Mount Perry. There's the Dante's View parking lot. Here's Death Valley, and you're looking straight at Telescope Peak ahead. Let's take a better look. There's Telescope Peak, and here's Rogers Peak and Bennett Peak, and then here is Wild Rose Peak. Then more of Death Valley. Another shot at Telescope Peak. There you are. And then Rogers and Bennett Peak. Bennett is actually on the left. Rogers is on the right, and there's some communication towers there. And you can see Telescope Peak page on Las Vegas area trails will show those peaks. And then here is Wild Rose Peak. And again, there's a page on Las Vegas area trails for Wild Rose Peak. And this expanse is almost too much to take in all at once. It's just incredible. And we'll see the expanse as the sun continues to advance over Death Valley. Every minute, the landscape changes. This area here is called an alluvial fan. It's all the deposits over years and years, thousands, tens of thousands of years that have washed down from the canyons in the mountain. And you can see another one too. The alluvial fan, just fanning out there. And by the way, this one's a pretty important one because this is, yes, this is Hanapah Canyon, and the ridge above Hanapah Canyon, you're looking straight at that ridge. You can take that ridge all the way up, and I've done that before, up to Mahogany Flat Pack Campground, and then over to Rogers Peak, Bennett Peak, and Telescope Peak. It was a 2-day adventure when I did that. And it's not on Las Vegas area trails. I did it a number of years ago, but maybe we'll do it again. I looked down on Hanapah Canyon and this ridge from Wild Rose Peak and from Telescope Peak. Okay, and then continuing around, we know that the town of Skidoo and Eureka, Augerberry Point are down in this area. This may be Augerberry Point. We don't know. Maybe next week we'll be up in Augerberry Point. We'll be looking in this direction to Dante's View. Okay, let's continue on up this trail and let's find where this is going to connect with Mount Perry. Here we go. Another view. We're at a viewpoint where we can get a better 360-degree view. There's Death Valley in the sunrise. Gotta watch watch my step here. There you can see the rising sun to the east. There's the parking lot for Dante's view. And as you can see, we're on the edge. And there are no soft landings around here. But it is incredibly beautiful. Okay, now I believe this is Mount Perry up ahead. Mount Perry coming into view. And then a 360 of Death Valley. And back to Mount Perry, our destination. Quick 360 as the sun continues to advance over Death Valley. There's Mount Perry. It's about a 9-mile round trip from the parking area at Dante's View, so it's not all that challenging, and as you can see, pretty decent trail. Let's get a better look at it. Just pick up your feet because there's a lot of stuff to trip on, a lot of rocks sticking out. Believe me, there's not many places you can fall here and enjoy the fall. And even walk away from it. Telescope Peak, Bennett, Rogers, and Wild Rose. Then over to Augerberry Point. And then back to Mount Perry. Okay, sun continuing to advance over Death Valley. Just want to catch these moments. Now, if you want the very beginning of sunrise over Death Valley, go to the Death Valley in a Day page, where I caught the very first glimmer of the sunrise. LasVegasAreaTrails.com. Okay, it is time for, oh, let's continue this 360. I believe we're looking toward the Amargosa Valley. There we are back at Telescope Peak, Bennett, Rogers, and Wild Rose. Okay, time for a terrain check. You can see I've come down from this height, and the trail goes right along the ridge. So you basically are looking down into the base of Death Valley from this ridge. So this is a great place to be while the sun is advancing. Okay, so come down this ridge, ascend into the ridge, and that gives us a hint of what the terrain is like. You can see that now, big descent downward. You can see the trail snaking on ahead there. And then continuing along the ridge. And let's see if we can catch a little more of the trail. Yeah. We don't know. Yeah. There we go. You look very carefully, you can see more of the trail. So it's ascending from the low point, and it continues to ascend, but with some dips. So a lot of ascent and descent. And then, as you approach Mount Perry, it looks like the trail will continue right up this ridge. Looks like the razor's edge. You're right on the edge of that ridge, all the way up to the summit. So that should be fun. Okay, we might be about a third of the way there. It's a pretty brief little jaunt. And there, of course, is Mount Perry. And what we're doing is descending this area, circling around. We'll be up on that high point soon. Get some closer looks at Mount Perry. And then here's, of course, Death Valley in the advancing sun. By the way, this is the last, second to the last Saturday it's the last Saturday in November. And it's about 8:30 at this point. And we've been descending this ridge here, continuing to skirt the edge of Death Valley. Pretty cool. There's the rest of the 360. And I believe, I'm not certain, but I believe that we're looking at Charleston Peak and the Mount Charleston Wilderness. Okay, continuing onward to the next rise. Closer look now at Mount Perry, and it looks like that ridge straight ahead, the trail skirts the right side of that ridge, but it looks like it gets a little rugged toward the summit. So we'll get a close-up view of that. And here's a nice view of the area toward Furnace Creek, the highway. You can't see the highway, but it takes this canyon pretty much. And you can see the area that we just descended from. We were on that ridge, and it was actually very easy to navigate. There was a nice trail although from here it looks pretty rugged. Okay, let's continue on up. Look at Mount Perry. Getting closer. Let's do a quick 360. There's the trail we were on, and this looks like a meetup group down in the halfway down that ridge, proceeding on this way. Nearing the base of Mount Perry. There you see ahead the approach route. Well, you can't really see it, but it's got to be there on that ridge. I don't see any other ways to get to the summit. And here's a quick 360. Sun continuing to advance. Now you can see more to the east. The valley here, and then down below. Looks like there's a four-wheeler down there. See a lot of dust. We know that 20 Mule Team Canyon's down there, and Furnace Creek Wash. Okay, onward, tracing the path. And you can see the trail if you look carefully. Winding around, up the ridge, and to the summit. Continuing to rise up this trail. Now we're on the ascent to Mount Perry. And looking around, see the sun on Death Valley. And there's a road down here. See that little road branching off from the Badwater Highway? I think that's going to Natural Bridge Canyon, which makes this the top side of Natural Bridge Canyon. If you continued all the way up, you'd be up here. But wow, what a trip that would be. And there is Telescope Peak, and to the right, Rogers and Bennett, in the opposite order. It's Bennett, then Rogers. Wild Rose, and you're looking at the Panamint Mountain Range on the west side of Death Valley. And we've got a whole developing Death Valley East, Death Valley West, and Death Valley North section on Las Vegas area trails. Have not done all the hikes yet, but have done quite a few. And then here's where we came from. And we were standing on that high point not long ago. Okay. Let's continue onward. Continuing to rise up, and it looks like we are on the final ascent to Mount Perry summit, which is either there or here, and we'll find out. Good way to check is where is the summit box. Okay, and then quick 360. I got to keep moving because there's a big meetup group behind me. And I'd kind of like to get on the summit before it gets crowded with a lot of people. Okay, there's looking back along the way we came. We'll get some better views of that on the way back. The sun will be in a better position. Here's the valley, And you can see some four-wheel driving there. A little bit of dust rising. By the way, we've been on the Black Mountains and the ridge, the spine of the Black Mountains this whole time, from the Dante's View parking area to here. Predicted. It gets a little sketchy up here. The trail remains very good. But yeah, we are on that ridge, and like I said, the trail remains very good, but there are some rock sections to climb over. Not up here. Well, let's go a little ways along here, give you an experience of what is happening. And you look for little indentations here. Yeah, if you suddenly see the sky, you know that I bit it. Okay. And yeah, the challenge is you want to watch to where the trail goes. You want to stay in little indents, try to keep your feet on something solid. Lift up your feet. But still, not too bad. Okay, approaching the summit, which should be ahead. I think these people are standing on the summit, or they're descending from another summit. Who knows? We'll find out when we get up there. And yes, you can see the rock ridge hill that they need to descend. And that's pretty much the type of thing we've been ascending. Looking around, there's Death Valley. Looking down into Natural Bridge Canyon. I believe that's Natural Bridge Road, breaking off of the Badwater Road. I hear sliding gravel up ahead. It is pretty loose, so you got to watch your step, especially going down. Going up's a lot easier, because you can always find a hold on the way down, though. It's like gravity wants you to descend very quickly. And you gotta say no. Just say no. And that's what we're looking at. Ascending and descending that area. But then, basically on the summit. Just for fun, let's ascend part of this last section. We think it's the last section. We don't know. Actually, it's really not too bad, but everything you're looking at is loose. And being that I have no hands, since I'm holding my trekking poles in one hand and camera in the other, I gotta be just a little more careful. But yeah, if you were to fall even on this section, you would pretty much, yeah, where does it continue? Right up here. You would pretty much just stop at least in most places. You can see what we're looking at. Ooh, that's quite a cheese grater down there. And then looking back the way we came, we're nearly at the summit. Yeah, this is the beautiful red rock we saw from a distance. Okay, so now we're just going to make our way across this section, then we'll be on the summit. Here's a little taste of this section. Just stay on the spine of this ridge and navigate these rocks. Still not too bad. Okay, I think I'm going to need a little more stability, so you get the idea. You can always tell when I do two 180s instead of a 360. I'm not on really secure ground. Okay, let's do this final section. Here we go. Okay, here I am on that high point that we saw just a moment ago, which I will describe by two words: false summit. And we look around, and yes, the true summit looks like it's up there. So here we are, continuing onward, and just continue the 360. This looks like a delightful little section. Here we go. Upward and upward. Eventually we'll find the true summit. There we are, looking down the Death Valley and cross to the Panamint Range. And yeah, Telescope Peak is about 20 to 24 miles away from this spot where we are standing as the crow flies. Now, right now, I don't want to be a crow. Just want to stay on my feet. Terra firma. Okay, onward. First stretch complete. That's kind of like the razor's edge. You're right on the edge of two drop-offs. Now, a climber would say, this isn't even climbing. But I'm a trail runner, not a climber. Okay, now we're looking ahead to the summit, Mount Perry, and then around. You can see Furnace Creek Wash down below. In fact, yeah, if we go all the way down here, you look very carefully, you can see Furnace Creek Wash down there and the main road, Highway 190. Okay, let's continue. Yes, and notice I'm doing a complete 360. A little shaky, but not bad. And here comes someone over that last rise. Okay. Let's continue to make our way to the summit. We may be the only ones there. Hopefully, we'll see. Got to keep moving. Okay, there's another summit. And I'm going to guess that's the true summit. I know I said that when we were on the false summit, but it sure doesn't look like there's anything higher than that. So, let's continue on. I think that the worst is behind us, but we never know. Here we go. Oh, 360. But soon we will be on the summit. We'll get a better 360 from there. So, to describe this place where I'm standing, second false summit. So, onward to the true summit. Quick 360. True summit, Mount Perry. Here's a little cairn to mark the spot. Still don't see any climber's box, but you know, it's got to be this. Now if I'm wrong, I'm sure someone will let me know, but I do believe we are on the summit of Mount Perry. Of course, there are some other ridges down there, but they look lower than this. So whether we are on the summit or not, we're going to say we're on the summit of Mount Perry. And then there's the continuation of the Black Mountains. And then let's do a 360, looking all the way down Death Valley north. Then you see the Panamint Range coming into view, about 20 miles away from here. And you can see the valley below. And you can see the area we came from. Over that way. That was the first high point after the Dante's View parking area. We ascended to that, and then you can see the ridges. And these definitely go down and around. Looking down Furnace Creek Wash. Well, I would say, oh wow. There, I believe, is the inn at Death Valley. Good aerial view. Right in the center. Death Valley Inn. Yeah, it's been around since Reagan did the series Death Valley Days. And that whole series was meant to advertise Death Valley Inn. Okay, well, here we are. Summit of Mount Perry. Fun little adventure. and beautiful the entire way. We're around 5,600 feet. There's the path that we came on. There's a high point just above the, not too far above the parking area for Dante's view. Death Valley South. I don't know all the peaks down there. We will find out at some point, but we do know that we have Telescope Peak right here, about 23 miles from where we are right now. Bennett and Rogers Peaks. Wild Rose Peak. And then somewhere down in this area is Augerberry Point. And looking a little below, you can see alluvial fans and canyons on the other side, on the Panamint Range side there. And I can't name them all, but there's one that I can name, and that's Hanapaw Canyon. And you can see the spine of the mountain there. The ridge leads off, circling to the right, and then circles around to where Rogers Peak is over there. At the base of Rogers Peak is Mahogany Flat Campground. And I've made that whole ridge system before. Maybe we'll do it again. It's before I was doing video, before they even had video like this on a phone. But here you can see a number of canyons, and yeah, look at a map. You'll be able to name each of those canyons in relation to Telescope Peak. And then looking down into the valley, straight down in the valley floor is Badwater Road. And you can see just the area, just the tip of the area where the, yeah, there it is, where the turnoff occurs to Natural Bridge Canyon, which is actually this canyon right below us. Most people know these sites from below on the main Death Valley roads, but if you were to continue up Natural Bridge Canyon, you'd be in this area, in these badlands down there. Then you'd hit some pretty challenging ridges. And you could technically ascend, and I think some people have. If you look real closely, you can see signs of people having passed through the area. I think some people have actually ascended all the way up to this Dante's view to Mount Perry Trail. Maybe one of these days we'll do that. But not today. Okay. Anyway, that's a little more detailed look at where we are. What you see right ahead here is the ridge, call it the razor's edge. It really wasn't that bad. There were a few spots where there were a couple little very brief class 3 sections, but mostly you could walk it. Just find the stairs and you're good. Okay, so let's head back to Dante's View. Been an amazing adventure. Mount Perry from Dante's View. It's a shot straight down what I think is Natural Bridge Canyon. We're on the way back now, and you can see where that unpaved road up ahead meets up with Badwater Road and continues on down toward Badwater. Of course, we won't know for sure until we've actually done Natural Bridge Canyon, but boy, I just think that this road ahead is Natural Bridge Canyon Road. And you can see there where it meets up with Badwater Road. And that's looking up the valley, up this area we just descended, and then across to the Panamint Range. And down the canyon. And then there's the view up to the high point right above the Dante's View parking area. So we descend a little more, and then we do a pretty healthy ascent, but it's all on a nice trail. This is the valley to the west that we couldn't really see in the morning sun. I mean, to the east. Yes, we couldn't see this in the morning sun because, of course, the sun was blurring everything out. There is the destination we just came down from, Mount Perry, and continuing around. There you see up the north end of Death Valley. So this is just amazing. What an expanse. And then our next hill is up here, and then around, we'll see what where it goes. I don't remember, but it may then go up to this location and then down to Dante's View. We shall see. Yeah, I think it does, as a matter of fact. In fact, it skirts the mid-hill there. Skirts around the hill. Doesn't go up to the top. Okay, and there you have it. And a better view of Charleston Peak right in the center, in the distance, the highest point in the Mount Charleston Wilderness. Back, things seem to be clearer, sharper, than they were on the way because of the positioning of the sun. Pretty awesome. Of course, that direction across the valley is starting to haze up. It's still beautiful. Okay, our goal is up to the top of that rise ahead, and then we descend to the Dante's View parking area. Give you an idea where we are. Get a look of the different shade of the valley. It's about 1:45. Last time we passed here, it was about 7:30. There you can see the trail ahead, the base of this hill, and off to the left. Very good trail. Now let's zoom in on Charleston Peak and the Mount Charleston Wilderness. It's that high point, a little faint there, but that is it. And of course, there are lots of pages on the Mount Charleston Wilderness in LasVegasAreaTrails.com. And then where we are headed, get to the top of that, and it's downhill all the way. Here we go. We're at a high point. We're almost at the point where it's downhill all the way back to the Dante's View parking area. So we're looking back now in this different light, more toward the afternoon. We're looking at Mount Perry, our destination. It was on the upper left of Mount Perry. And then looking around, we're looking toward the west, and right in the center is Mount Charleston, or Charleston Peak and the Charleston Wilderness. To the right, we're seeing Lee Peak. Left. To the left, we're seeing Lee Peak. To the right, I think we're seeing Griffith Peak. Interesting. Or maybe to the right is the true Charleston Peak. Yeah, we just don't know if that's Charleston Peak in the center now. Then to the right of that would be Mummy Mountain. Lee Peak in between them. Circling around, and we just need to head up to the high point ahead. A couple people standing up there, and then it's downhill all the way. And there's Telescope Peak in the center, Bennett, Rogers, and Wild Rose. And then the expanse of Death Valley heading north. So there you have it. Now we're back at Mount Perry. The next rise There are a few more rises than I remember. There's a good 360. And now coming into view is the Dante's View parking area. Right over there. One more rise. And then it's downhill to the parking area. Here's a cool shot. Looking straight down into Death Valley. And then up to Telescope Peak. Okay, this is a good place to get a 360. There you see the Panamint Mountain Range. And looking straight down from 5,600 feet elevation where we stand, down to Badwater Basin, negative 287 feet, the lowest point in the Western Hemisphere. And then looking down south, and you see the parking area for Dante's View right down in this area. And you see the southern expanse of Death Valley below us. The Panamint Mountain Range with Telescope Peak, Bennett and Rogers Peaks, and Wild Rose Peak. Pages on Las Vegas area trails for all of those. And then looking up north, it's toward the Furnace Creek area. And then right in our sights here, there's Mount Perry. We stood on that not too long ago. And then continuing around, there's Charleston Peak. If you look closely, you can see Mummy Mountain to the left, Lee Peak in between, and Griffith Peak off to the right, the pointy peak. Here's some artwork. Artistic cairns. And then back around to the Badwater area. I mean, not Badwater, to Dante's View parking area. Yes, you can see the cars winding up that hill. That last quarter mile, I understand, is a 15% grade. It's about the steepest grade that's allowed on a road. We'll just circle around once more real quick. Dante's view to Mount Perry. What an adventure. Great trail. Little challenge as you get close to Mount Perry, as you get close to the summit. Makes it fun. Okay. We are back at the Dante's View parking area. And let's see if we can nail the beast. I think the beast. Yeah. Beast should be right in the center there. Can't see it with all this glare, but it's there.